Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
Weapon reskins in TF2 have always seen Milk, Bat Saber, Unarmed Combat, and 3-Rune Blade are all functional replacements to an otherwise identical weapon. So let's start with the easy choices and work our way down. Unsurprisingly, the Bat Saber is the clear-cut winner over the Bat. I mean, come on, it's a literal lightsaber. Why wouldn't you use this thing? Yeah, that's why. The main thing going against the Bat Saber is that it is dummy expensive, quintuply so if you want a strange version, but honestly, I feel like you're getting what you pay for here. The 3-Rune Blade also wins pretty handily over the Boston Basher, considering that I am a sucker for swords and this thing looks sick. The lack of a strange version is a pretty apparent issue for me though, since in most cases I do refuse to use a weapon if it isn't strange. But considering that I rarely use the Boston Basher to get actual kills, I'm definitely willing to make an exception here and declare the 3-Rune the victor. The Holy Mackerel versus the Unarmed Combat was pretty difficult because both of the weapons are pretty goofy in their own respects, but I think on an empirical goofiness scale, the concept of beating someone with a fish slightly edges out beating him with a disembodied arm. Apparently they're both against the law, but one of them gets you put into a lengthy police interrogation while the other's an open and shut case that only comes with several $1,000s in fines. So, because I'm never getting those 12 hours back from the interrogators, I'll give this point to the Mackerel. The Mad Milk versus the Mutated Milk is a bit unfair, considering that one of them is actually objectively better than the other. If you've watched my videos before, specifically this one, you know exactly which one it is. If not, I would recommend doing so for a better explanation, but the long short of it is that the bread throwables actually travel slightly farther than the normal versions. But pay to win aside, the Mutated Milk can also do this. So it gets the point either way. And finally, Scout has one of the weapons with two different reskins, making the choice between 3 total weapons. The Luger Morph and the Capper are both reskins of the pistol, making what is potentially the best set of reskin options in the entire game. All of these weapons are incredibly nice looking. Even the pistol, which would arguably be the weakest out of the 3, has numerous war paints that really add to the look. This was a difficult decision to make that would probably vary based on the day that I made it, but as of right now, I personally think that the Capper just feels the best to use. The laser beams are functionally identical to bullets, but they just feel better somehow? It's hard to explain, but out of all the 3 pistols, the Capper is where I'm placing my vote. So, ending Scout, that's 1 point for the normal weapons and 4 points for the reskins. Soldier only has half a reskin, so we don't count it here. Now hold on, I know what you're thinking. A reskin is a reskin, you can't say it's only a half. Well, TJ Heavy Yoshi, hear me out. A reskin is a weapon that's completely identical to the item it's replacing in every way but the model. While I'm willing to make exceptions for the bread jar since the differences are extremely minimal, the original has a mechanic that definitively separates it from the stock rocket launcher in higher level play. Even though every other stat is the same, the fact that the rocket comes from the center of the screen changes enough about your playstyle that we call it half of a reskin. So yeah, I'm gonna skip this one. Pyro has up to 5 reskins depending on how we want to handle Pyro Land. Personally, I think I was wrong to exclude these from my original weapon reskins video, since unlike the original, the only changes to them are visual. So that means that the flamethrower slot is a 3-way competition between stock, the rainblower, and the Nostromo Napalmer, which makes things very tricky because all 3 have attributes that I really like. The main benefit of stock is that on top of having readily available strange versions, its extra variants like Festives and Australiums are super nice looking. I'm particularly fond of the earlier decorated skins, specifically the Balloonicorn and the Warhawk. On the other hand, the rainblower does have nice attributes like an included taunt kill, RGB gamer flames, and neat visual effects if you're not playing on 2 Fort. Seriously, what the hell were they thinking? But on the third hand that I grew from nuclear waste exposure, the Nostromo Napalmer is one of the coolest looking reskins in the entire game. I know it doesn't really mesh with the game's art style perfectly, but like, just look at it. So even though the decision was tough, I'm going to say that my favorite flamethrower version all around is stock. If the Nostromo Napalmer had a strange version, then it would easily be that one, but unfortunately, I can't justify using a weapon that doesn't track my life's work. And also the skins carry stock. Seriously, I love some of the paints available for it. The Fire Axe versus the Lolly Chop is interesting.